Kevin McStay and Tony Davis are with us in studio, and we're just chatting through the break there about who could be marking who and the matchups. There's so much.
It's one of the great parts of the build-up to the finals, especially when there is a little bit of doubt about what the starting 15s in both counties and the public in general. They're all wondering, you know, is Galvin going to be selected for Kerry? What are they going to do with Kevin McMenamin now? Will Diarmuid Connolly hold his place? You know, there's a few injuries.
Would you start Kevin McMenamin? I'd
certainly give it a lot of consideration. But who would you drop for him? You know.
Well, I'm asking you.
Yeah, I'm thinking out loud. Who would you drop for him? You know, Diarmuid Connolly would consider himself, as we were reflecting there, just in the lead up. He's had an amazing summer in many respects, but he would consider himself very unlucky if he didn't. Yeah. But then he's had a lot of pressure on the last 2 weeks. Maybe the best idea would be to rest him and put on McMenamin, who might ask different questions off different Kerry defenders, because the matchups will be really important.
I know that, but then you'd have Barry Cahill in a different role, maybe.
Well, these are the things that we all talk about, you know, with an easy mind. But Pat Gilroy and Jack O'Connor, they're into the fine detail, the forensic detail now for the last 2 weeks, wondering about it.
The one thing about Dublin is they play a zonal defence where they all get back. So I suppose the matchups for Dublin are important, but I think the matchups for Kerry are probably more important because they don't play such a zonal defence as what Dublin do. Yeah. And when you look at Dublin, you pick out, of course, the two Brogans and Diarmuid Connolly as the main score getters. And who's going to be marking them? Well, Mark O'Shea probably will be marking Bernard Brogan. On the other side, you'll have Killian Young and Alan Brogan, and that leaves Tom O'Sullivan and Diarmuid Connolly left in the full forward line.
If Diarmuid starts, yeah.
And then, of course, the big question of all then, does Paul Galvin start? You know, he's supposed to be flying in training.
Kieran O'Leary did really well the last day, so again, that would be really unfortunate of him if he didn't get the start. But then Galvin is key to a lot of what's going to be required next Sunday when we want to intensity and stuff like that.
They'll have to start. Surely they'll have to start Paul Galvin based on his experience.
I agree. Again, who's going to be dropped? Is it going to be Donncha Walsh again, or are they going to start Kieran O'Leary in the corner? I think they'll start Kieran O'Leary actually and play Paul Galvin. I think you must start with your best team, and Paul Galvin would be on any team.
He hasn't a whole lot of football.
Doesn't matter.
You know, in the legs, as it were. But yes, of course, he's a terrific player.
I think you have to start him.
You've been looking at what you consider Dublin's winning formula if they are to win it.
Yeah, the things they're going to have to get absolutely right. And the Cluxton, I've been speaking about this all summer, the Cluxton influence, you know, it can't be underestimated. It's very significant. The kickouts. Now, they will not get uncontested kickouts like they did against Donegal. That, you know, that was an aberration, really. That won't repeat itself. Curry will push up anyway. But his influence from frees will be really, really important. He's the 4th top scorer for the team. He's nailing anything from 50 metres in. Also, you know, we would have a sense that Dublin must stretch the Kerry defence. If they're to show what many of us think is their superior athleticism, that they have deep conditioning, they have the younger legs, the faster legs, but they'll have to stretch it. They'll have to play the corners, they'll have to play the lanes by the sideline. They'll have to push the defence and ask different questions. On single matchups, I think the Kerry defence will have enough cute football in them. But if they're physically tested, it might be a different story.
All right. It's an element, you know, this movement. Is there a chance, do you think, that Kerry might play deeper, Tony, to prevent that?
Like, there's no doubt that Paul Galvin and Declan O'Sullivan will Kerry play a deep. There's this perception they don't do that. They actually do. When they lose the ball, they work as hard as everybody else. And the likes of Declan O'Sullivan is able to cover that space between linked defence and attack. They do that anyway. They will work hard. The one thing about Kerry is Kerry are going to get it right. They're used to playing in All-Ireland finals. It's up to Dublin to get it right on the day. And that's the big question mark.
You were talking earlier about intensity as well. Well, from both teams.
I think intensity has been one of the big themes of the summer, even in the hurling and football. And we're just looking back on, you know, maybe when we were introduced to real intensity for the first time, maybe 7-8 years ago now at this stage. And even the shape of the bodies, we were saying earlier on,
it's even changed.
Even the shape of the bodies have changed
They've got stronger
in that short time.
And the 3 games that Kerry lost, 2, 5 and 8, Armagh and Tyrone twice, this is the intensity they were up against, and this is the intensity Dublin must do, like we saw against Tyrone. Like, this is fantastic intensity.
Now, I feel Dublin, this is a starting point with them. They will bring this to the table, this intensity. You know, you won't be wondering, will they show up and not have their intensity game? They must. This is a given. They will tog with a fierce desire to compete. out beyond that then, once they establish the intensity and the contest, have the footballers then to go on and win it. But the intensity one will be a riveting spectacle and battle for all of us in the first 20 minutes.
Okay, Tony, you mentioned there the Kerry have experienced the finals before, and Dublin will have to match that. Talk a little bit, expand on that about Kerry's experience.
Well, what I mean about Kerry is, look, in Kerry, they never worry about getting to the All-Ireland final. It's about winning the All-Ireland final. And it killed them last year. They weren't there, and Cork won it. But they will always deliver on the day. They have a fantastic record in All-Ireland finals, and that's the one plus they have. I'm looking at a weakness here, and I thought against Mayo, they did isolate Mark O'Shea at full-back. No, Mark stayed on his feet. He stayed inside him, and Andy Moran didn't get inside him. But if that was one of the Brogans, he would have got by it. So Kerry must cover and must shield that full back line. But Dublin are going to contribute a little to it, because with Brian Cullen and Paul Flynn going back, it's going to allow Tomas O'Shea once to cover back and shield in front of his full back line. But as we see here, he's such a good footballer, and the same with Aidan O'Mahony, those guys won't stay back. And
Owen Brosnan, if he's fit.
And Owen Brosnan, if he's fit, you know, big question. Now, their strengths obviously are in their forward line. They have probably the best 6-7 forwards in the country, and they can score from that. And Darren O'Sullivan has been magnificent this year, and we couldn't show without this goal from Gooch. Nobody else would have taken that shot. Nobody else would have won the ball. They'd have played it safe back out, but he wasn't happy with it.
He's X factor.
It was a crucial stage in the game, and he smelt blood and went for it. You know, and that's the other thing about it. They are so experienced, and he's been in so many All-Ireland finals. He's captain this year, and you know how Kerry, they have always something to play for. They're so hungry.
Yeah.
Right?
This one's for Gooch.
They're playing for Gooch this year. It was for somebody else last year, and next year it'll be for somebody else. But they're just get it right on the day.
Well, talking of experience, have a look at this by way of, if you're a Dublin player, this won't make you feel good.
We chose their forwards, and we spoke earlier on about what lineup it will be. But look at the amount of All-Irelands that they have. Now, this is a crucial part of the pitch for Kerry, and this is the part of the pitch they're hoping to deliver. Now, Kieran Donaghy will not have been happy the last day against Mayo. He lost about 5 balls, and he must get it right for them. I think Paul Galvin will start. Darren O'Sullivan is having a magnificent season, and this is a massive plus for Kerry. And this is where the whole season for Dublin was about how their defensive strategy can counteract this kind of thing. So really, Dublin's whole year is set up to playing in this game. We spoke earlier, Kevin, about maybe they weren't that interested. They just wanted to get to the All-Ireland this year and win it. But that's what they're up against, and that's a formidable opposition.
A lot of medals, all right.
Okay, well, I sense you're going for Kerry.
No, I don't know where you got that sense from. No, not at all. My strong suspicion is that Dublin will win it. They have boxes to tick in the preparation, but I think they are going to tick them, and I think they are going to bring a level of intensity to the game. I think they're going to do enough to win this All-Ireland. I really do. It's going to be very difficult for them, but I really believe they will.
I think Dublin are capable of winning it, because I think their athleticism will go a long way, but I do think Kerry will win it. I'm a firm believer in experience and playing in All-Ireland finals and getting it right, the preparation right, and getting it right on the day. And Kerry just have it up front. The Gooch, Declan O'Sullivan, they deliver on the big day, and I think it's going to be just a little bit too much this year for Dublin.
Okay, well, a split vote then for tonight. My thanks to Tony and Kevin and all our guests tonight. 7 days to go. The old rivals are eyeing the prize. Nostalgia.